Alright guys, welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and guys, I'm excited because I get to talk about the first of the two new M. Night Shyamalan 4Ks, and that is The Sixth Sense on 4K from Disney, of all people. Disney is putting this one out, guys, in association with Hollywood Studios. Look, we didn't think we were going to get this one because Disney just doesn't do stuff like this, but luckily, I think we had a little push from our friend M. Night Shyamalan. So we got The Sixth Sense on 4K, Signs on 4K, which I will be doing a review for later, so definitely look out for that. But I'm excited to dive into this one. I will be comparing this to the Blu-ray that came out all the way back in 2008. We have not had a release of any kind for The Sixth Sense since 2008. It has been 16 years since we've gotten any kind of release for this movie on physical media. So we're going to talk about that and kind of compare the picture quality. I am going to talk about the movie a little bit. We'll talk about the sound. We'll do a little unboxing and then compare special features as well. But before we get into it, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about all things physical media here on this channel, Blu-rays, 4Ks, owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me every single day. So if you're into that kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and then comment down below your thoughts on The Sixth Sense. Is this your favorite Shyamalan movie? It is not mine. It is not mine, but it is very close up to the top of Shyamalan's filmography. But let me know your thoughts on The Sixth Sense. Where does it rank for you in the Shyamalan filmography? In the comments section below. Okay, I do also want to point out real quick, guys, there is a Steelbook version of this. I wish it was available in the States, but it is in the UK. It's an HMV exclusive. So if you're over in the UK, you can get yourself a nice Steelbook version of The Sixth Sense. All right, let's get into the movie a little bit. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, it came out in 1999, starring Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, which this was really kind of his breakout role to be like the next big child star in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then you also got Toni Collette in this film, who I think at this time, like, people did not realize how great Toni Collette was, but she's got two of the greatest horror performances. If you want to call this a horror film, I do, but I understand people that want to call it a supernatural thriller or, you know, anything like that. I think she's got two of the best horror performances of all time with this movie and with Hereditary. Like, she is fantastic in both of these movies. But look, here's the thing with The Sixth Sense. I think this is a movie that a lot of people love. A lot of people really love, and a lot of people will give credit to being one of the better movies of 1999, which is an incredible year as well, and being the best Shyamalan movie. There's a lot of people that will give this movie credit. There's also a lot of people that say that once you know the twist of this film, which I am not here to spoil the twist, guys, because if you have been living under a rock, which you kind of had to have been to not know the twist of this movie, and you just so happen to not know the twist, okay, what's going on in this film, I don't want to be the one to spoil it for you, so we're not going to talk about the twist here. But there's a lot of people that say, once you know the twist, there's no point in watching the film, which I hard disagree on that, because once you know the twist, which, like, back in 1999, like, when nobody knew what the twist was going to be and we were all watching it, I saw this movie in the theaters, like, you did not expect it. Like, even though all the signs were there throughout the film, you didn't expect it. I don't care, like, who you were. If you said you expected it, like, that didn't happen. Like, nobody expected what it was. Mind-blowing to everybody that watched this film back in 1999. But what's cool about the movie is once you know that twist and then you go back and watch the movie, you can pick up on all these little things like throughout, and it's kind of actually really fun to watch and figure out, like, you know, what this means to that and why did this happen this way. And it's just, again, I don't want to get into too specifics because I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of cool to go back and rewatch it when you have the context of what happens at the end of the film. But other than all that, guys, like, I don't think that ruins the movie. Like, knowing the twist, that doesn't make the movie any less great. Like, the film is great because of the actors involved, which, like, Shyamalan just, like, I don't know, like, he just got lucky, like, hit lightning in a bottle with some of his actors in his earlier films, because he just got some of the best of all time. But, like, the performances in this movie are fantastic, particularly, like, Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette. Like, their chemistry together as the mom and the son is some of the best, like, mother-son chemistry I've ever seen. Like, there are so many moments that I'm not afraid to admit where I'm, like, tearing up, like, watching them just, like, perform with each other, because there's something that he's holding inside that he cannot let his mom know, and she just wants to get out of him, and she can't, like, the entire film. And all that stuff is just beautiful, and it's so perfectly performed because like every time they're performing together, like it's such a sweet relationship, and you can just tell that they care for each other so much. The whole scene at the end, towards the end of the film, where they're waiting in traffic because somebody got in a wreck up ahead and one of the girls got killed, and he kind of reveals his big secret, the fact that he can see dead people. Guys, I don't think that that's a spoiler. People know that's the premise of the movie, but he holds that in the whole movie, and he finally lets his mom know what's going on, and it's just such a powerful moment. And Bruce Willis, not to take anything away from Bruce Willis, he's fantastic in the film as well, but he's more or less kind of a monotone, just kind of play it straight kind of character. There are some emotional scenes with him as well, but I don't think any of them hit as much as Toni Collette and Haley Joel Osment in this movie. So just tons of great performances. I think it's a beautiful story. Also, like, you want to get into the horror aspects, there are some scenes in this film that are extremely horrific, and I remember watching this back in the day, and they'll send chills down your spine. So this movie does have the scares, it has the horror moments, not in a cheap way, in an organic way. Everything builds, it has great atmosphere, there's great tension and suspense all throughout this movie, and I love how, like, you don't even, like, even though, like, you saw the trailer, which kind of spoiled the movie back in the day, but if you didn't watch the trailer, you wouldn't even really know what was going on until about 50 minutes in, when they finally reveal, like, what's going on. And then the whole world just, like, opens up. You know, the fact that he can see dead people, and then you start seeing the dead people along with him as well. And that adds an extra, like, layer of creep factor in there. So I feel like I'm talking about the movie way too much, but I love this film, and I think it is kind of like, as much as, like, people talk about it and say it is a great Shyamalan movie, it's still kind of underrated. Now, is it my favorite? It's not my favorite. Signs is my favorite, and we'll talk about that later, but I still think it's a great movie, and it's for sure my second favorite Shyamalan movie. It's so good. Every time I go back and rewatch it, I forget just like how great of a film that it is. But let's get into the 4K transfer here, because that's what people want to know about, right? You want to know how this stacks up. Is it worth upgrading? How did Disney do? Because they've been kind of spotty this year, guys, with the Cameron 4Ks. People were not happy with those. Now, that was James Cameron. This is M. Night Shyamalan, which I'm assuming that Shyamalan had a part in restoring these or supervising the restoration of these. I'm assuming that. I can't find any information that points to he was a part of that, at least not in the press release. Maybe that was put out when these were first announced. I'm not too sure, to be completely honest, but you want to know, did they botch it? Okay, did they botch the release of The Sixth Sense on 4K? Is it worth upgrading over this Blu-ray that came out 16 years ago? And what I can tell you about this 4K, it's a native 4K. You got HDR10 here. You do not have Dolby Vision with this release. I thought this was a fantastic 4K. I really did. I haven't really seen or heard any like chatter. Like, are the people that dislike this, or do they like it, or what like people are saying about it? I haven't really heard anything about like people talking about The Sixth Sense on 4K. But for my eyes, I thought it looked fantastic on 4K. I thought it was super sharp and clean, but also had a good grain structure as well. One negative I can maybe throw at it is I think the grain structure is a little inconsistent in parts. There are parts that feel like they're a little bit more grain heavy than others. Like, I feel like it had a nice like balance between like just super sharp, like cleaned up picture quality, and also grain in there as well to remind you that you are watching an actual film. But there are moments where it kind of goes really like grain heavy for a second, and then it kind of just pulls back on it. So that maybe is the only kind of sort of negative. It isn't really a super negative for me because I don't mind grain anyway, but I can see like some people kind of minding those moments. But there are just scenes and like the way this movie shot and sequences of this film that just look beautiful. All the outside stuff looks great. Like when Haley Joel Osment is walking down the streets of Philadelphia and you see those gorgeous buildings and the scenery and the landmarks and all that stuff, all that looks great. When he goes up to that church at the beginning and Bruce Willis is sitting outside, like that looks beautiful. The red of the door looks excellent. When he goes inside the church, it looks incredible, just incredible visual quality like all throughout this film. The contrast of that red balloon when he's inside and he sees it going up, which I was thinking about this when it got announced for 4K, like how good that moment will look. Absolutely delivers. Just the red balloon contrast with everything else. And there's a lot of moments of red throughout the movie. That was kind of like a theme, and M. Night Shyamalan kind of put that throughout the film to kind of foreshadow what was to come. But all kinds of great sequences in this film. Like I said, perfectly cleaned up. Everything looks great. Skin tone definition, facial definition, just the actual like detail and the outfits that everybody's wearing, the scenery, the background. All that stuff looks great. I think this is a super sharp, like very cleaned up 4K that, again, also retain that grain structure. It does not, do not worry, it does not look like the Cameron 4Ks. It is not like overly digitized, like they don't look like waxy or any way like that. It's a very natural, very cleaned up version of the Sixth Sense. It looks fantastic with the addition of that HDR. I think it really enhances some of those colors. And if I'm comparing it to the 2008 Blu-ray right here, which I did pop in for a little bit. And another thing to note, guys, this Blu-ray and the Blu-ray that they put in here is the exact same Blu-ray. They didn't do any additional work to the Blu-ray here. It's not a 4K scan. It's the exact same Blu-ray that was on the release back in 2008. So I do want to note that. But this Blu-ray, it's not that it's a terrible Blu-ray, especially considering it came out back in 2008. Which I've seen really bad 2008 Blu-rays, like Reservoir Dogs looks awful. It doesn't look that bad, but you can definitely tell a difference when you watch this 4K versus this Blu-ray. It's a lot clearer, it's a lot sharper, and that HDR, like without the HDR with this right here, like it looks so incredibly flat. So the HDR really brings this film to life in a way that it was not back when this Blu-ray release came out back in 2008. So really outstanding picture quality here. It definitely makes me very excited to watch Signs on 4K, because if they did this good of a job for the Sixth Sense on 4K, I cannot wait to see how Signs looks on 4K, because I think that has the potential to be like one of the best 4Ks of the year if they did it right. So I'm excited to get into that next, and I'll definitely do a review for that. But the Sixth Sense on 4K, guys, looks fantastic. Pristine picture quality. Do not worry about the picture quality here, because I thought it looked absolutely fantastic. Disney, I hate to admit it, and this was honestly like Sony that did the work, but like through Disney, Sony, I hate to admit it, they did a great job here. The Sixth Sense on 4K is absolutely worth the upgrade. Now, getting into the audio here, you do have a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, which I believe the 5.1 was present on the Blu-ray as well, so no real audio upgrade here, but everything sounded fantastic. James Newton Howard's score is so great. Like, I think that's such a big part of what makes this movie work. Like, it's such incredible music, haunting music that just works with the themes of this movie and the story. So I love the score. I thought all that sounded fantastic, but the movie sounded great. No issues with the sound. I've just got a sound bar that kind of simulates that 5.1 with a subwoofer, so I don't have that full setup, but from my sound system, guys, it sounded really good. I'm sure it'll sound just fine on yours. Now, getting into the packaging here, guys, I actually like the slipcover. I think this looks really nice. I think it's perfectly, maybe not the color, like I like the more like orange aesthetic of that Blu-ray release back in the day, the original poster. I don't know how I feel about the more greenish look. I think that works for Signs, but not all the way for the Sixth Sense. But you know, I like the artwork on it. I like Bruce Willis. I like Haley Joel Osment with the kind of light in the middle of them, and then the ghostly figures in the back. I think that looks really kind of cool. Up at the top, you got 4K Blu-ray, and then you got the digital version in here as well. Flip it on the back, we got the synopsis at the top, some images from the film. You got the bonus features right there, which I'll go ahead and talk about the bonus features, guys, and the special features, because there's not much to talk about here, and it's a little bit of a disappointing factor for this release. All the special features are exactly the same that were on this Blu-ray release, and they're all on the Blu-ray, so none of them are on the 4K. They did no new audio commentaries, anything like that. I wish they would have done something, but I will say that the special features, the older ones, which I think are all the way back from the DVD era, they're like 40 minutes long. There's several interviews with the actors and the director, and there's actually a little documentary featuring William Peter Blatty talking about like ghosts and the afterlife and cinema and all that kind of stuff and their presence in cinema. So like there's some good stuff in terms of special features. It's just they're all like 20-year-old special features. So it's nothing new in terms of special features here. So that can be considered a little bit of a disappointment. Just a little bit, just a disappointment to me. Like, I want to see something new with these releases, guys. I don't care if it's a studio and you don't see it too often. We saw a bunch of new interviews and stuff with the Cameron releases and documentaries and all that stuff. Cameron coming back to talk about these. So I don't understand why Shyamalan couldn't do the same with these. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But, you know, all the same features right there, guys. We'll scroll down and show you the specs. All that good stuff. Take it out of the slipcover. Underneath, you got a regular 4K case. Flip it to the back right there. You got the same stuff on there, plus the casting list. You open this sucker up. I'll take the digital code out. And you got the Blu-ray and the 4K. You got some nice disc art on the 4K, which I appreciate, but no real disc art on the Blu-ray right there. But there you have it, guys. It's a nice release. It's a well-done release. Now, I will say for the price of $34.48, maybe a little bit too pricey for this release. Like I would like it to be at least 30 bucks. I still recommend it. Like if you really love The Sixth Sense, like it really is a great 4K disc, and you also get the Blu-ray in here. So if you don't have the Blu-ray, it's a bonus. You get both. But I still kind of think that $34.48 is a little bit too pricey. I would like to see that price come down to 27 or 28 or something like that. I think that would be worth it, especially since this has nothing new in terms of special features or anything like that. It really is, you're just buying this for the 4K upgrade, which a lot of people, like, that's all they care about, and that's great, but I still think it's a little bit pricey with what they're giving you here. But I still recommend the disc. I think it's a good 4K upgrade over the Blu-ray. So that's my review, guys, of The Sixth Sense on 4K. Like I said, signs will be coming soon. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications for that review. Like the video. Also, comment your thoughts on the film in the comments section below. Are you going to be getting this 4K? Let me know in the comments section. And follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.